Imagine a world not so long ago. A world lit by flickering candles and the gentle hiss of gaslight. This was the 1800s. Our great-great-grandparents walked these streets. They lived in a world bound by the speed of a horse or the steady chug of a steam locomotive. News traveled slowly. A letter from London to New York might take weeks carried across the vast, churning Atlantic Ocean by a sailing ship. Information was a precious, scarce commodity. It was held in leather-bound books accessible only to the few who could afford them or lived near a library. Your world was your village, your city. The horizon was a real, tangible boundary. Life moved at a human pace. The sun rose and the workday began. The sun set and the world grew dark and quiet. To speak with someone far away, you wrote a letter. You dipped a quill in ink. You carefully formed each word, knowing your message would embark on a long journey. There was no instant connection, no global conversation. Communities were small, tight-knit circles of people you could see and touch. Ideas, discoveries, and revolutions spread like ripples in a pond, slowly expanding outward from their source. This was a world of immense distances, a world of profound, enforced silence between its scattered peoples. Think about what it meant to learn something new. You couldn't just look it up. You had to find a book, or an expert. A scientist in Paris might make a groundbreaking discovery, but for a colleague in Boston to learn of it, they had to wait for a scientific journal to be printed, shipped, and delivered. This delay, this latency in the flow of human knowledge, shaped the very pace of progress. Brilliant minds often worked in isolation, unaware that someone an ocean away was wrestling with the very same problem. It was a world of disconnected geniuses. This was the stage upon which our story unfolds. A world of steam, steel, and burgeoning industry. A world of empires and exploration. But it was also a world defined by its limits, of speed, communication, and knowledge, until a force would shatter the tyranny of distance and connect every mind on the planet. In our timeline, Charles Babbage was a man ahead of his time. He dreamed of machines that could think, analytical engine, a magnificent brass and steel design, gears, levers. It was a blueprint for the modern computer, but it was never fully built. Now, step into a different stream of time. Babbage and Ada Lovelace together hit a new breakthrough. Not mechanical, electrical, information as pulses of electricity, tiny sparks along copper wires. Suddenly, the impossible becomes possible. The engine shrinks from room size to compact. A faster, smaller electric mind. They realize these machines do more than calculate numbers. They can process symbols. They can store words. They can hold ideas. But the greatest leap is yet to come. What if we could connect machines to one another, use existing telegraph wires, crisscrossing continents, and even spanning oceans? Send not dots and dashes but complex information. The first connection is made. Message from Babbage's workshop in London to a university in Manchester. Not click-clack Morse. A full paragraph appears. Text on a primitive display. Reaction. Not quiet understanding. Sheer astonishment. A technological thunderclap across the globe. More than a fast telegraph. A network, a web, a space where minds can meet across miles. They call it the telegraphic web, simply the web. Early adopters, governments. Early adopters, universities. Early adopters, wealthy industrialists. Potential undeniable. An admiral gets detailed reports. A scientist in Vienna shares equations with New York instantly. The world suddenly feels smaller. Wrapped in a nervous system of copper and electricity, silence between nations is broken. A constant crackling hum of data. The 19th century has just logged on. How does this new web change daily life? For the average person, the change is not immediate. But for those in science, government, and commerce, it is revolutionary. Imagine a merchant in London. Before the web, he would send an order by ship and wait months. Now he queries the mercantile exchange, sees prices, stock, and schedules instantly, and makes a deal in minutes, not months. Education undergoes a radical transformation. Universities are first to build extensive networks. A student at Oxford accesses distant stacks. Digital scribes, often women, type ancient texts and modern papers onto the web. A scholar in the Highlands and a professor at Harvard share the same library. Knowledge is democratized at a breathtaking pace. Work begins to change. While factories and farms remain central, new roles emerge. Information clerk, data analyst, remote correspondent. Newspapers employ worldwide correspondents filing instantly. A global news cycle is born. An uprising in the Qing dynasty becomes breaking news, debated in London and Paris as it happens. The elite trade egrams, fast and private. Digital bulletin boards spring up for every topic. Chess strategy, abolitionist organizing, poetry. People separated by thousands of miles find common ground and form new communities. An American abolitionist strategizes directly with a British counterpart in real time. The web becomes a new social space, a new public square for all of humanity. The Victorian era was an age of great confidence, but also of rigid social structures and deeply held beliefs. Into this world, the web unleashes a torrent of information, and with it, a torrent of questions. Charles Darwin publishes On the Origin of Species not just as a book, but as a digital text instantly available worldwide. Debate is no longer confined to slow letters and journals, it explodes across the web. Biologists, geologists, theologians engage in fierce public real-time debates. Traditional censorship falters. The web is slippery and decentralized. Banned political pamphlets, heretical ideas, revolutionary philosophies, copied and shared in the blink of an eye. Thinkers like Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels upload the manifesto to the web. It is translated and debated by workers and intellectuals across Europe in days. The empowerment of the individual is staggering. A woman denied public voice can now publish her thoughts, politics, art, science, to be judged on merit alone. Minority groups find solidarity and a powerful voice on the web. Suffragettes coordinate internationally. America, Britain, New Zealand, simultaneously. Self-education fuels innovation everywhere. The Industrial Revolution accelerates and distributes. Innovation spreads beyond major centers. It starts happening everywhere. As millions of minds gain tools and knowledge to solve their own problems, the world is getting smarter, faster. In the late 19th century, the great European empires were at their zenith. They ruled through military might and slow bureaucratic administration. Now the web hyper-centralizes rule. An imperial dashboard analyzes decisions in real time. Governors no longer act alone, orders flow instantly. Rebellions identified and quashed with speed. Yet the same tools sow dissent. People see wealth extracted and read debates on liberty. The scramble for Africa becomes a calculated, networked chess game, contested and transparent. African leaders coordinate resistance, appeal to global opinion, and expose abuses. Conquest persists but is contested, planting anti-colonial seeds much earlier. Empire faces internal critiques as direct conversations humanize the other. It's harder to dehumanize when London chats with a poet in Calcutta, or a leader in Lagos. Digital humanism emerges, moral foundations of empire crack decades ahead of schedule. In our world, physics blossomed in letters, conferences, and slow journals. Here it happens at the speed of light. Planck posts quantized energy online. Within hours the world debates and calculates. Einstein is no isolated clerk, he's active in the threads, sharing thought experiments and proofs, receiving immediate challenges and contributions. Science becomes massively collaborative in real time. E equals mc squared becomes a global conversation with thousands weighing implications. Quantum mechanics develops faster and more robust through rapid critique and refinement. Huge data sets are shared instantly, enabling discoveries that once took decades. Despite national tensions, scientists inhabit a shared, borderless space of pure inquiry. They form netiquette, open sharing, and rigorous depersonalized debate, a model for the world. The project of science becomes a great unifying force. The search for knowledge, for understanding the cosmos, transcends petty squabbles. Science shows what a linked human mind can do. As the 20th century dawns, tensions remain, but the web alters the path to war. The assassination is instantaneous news, and so is the diplomatic fallout. Leaders communicate directly, watched by a global public. The fog of war thins. Propaganda struggles, citizens access the other side and debate across borders. Grassroots peace movements organize digitally, flood networks with pleas for negotiation. If war comes, it is the first information war. Digital propaganda, cyber attacks, and disinformation campaigns. Soldiers receive orders and news from home. Censors can't hide the brutal reality. The war is shorter. Public support collapses faster online. Peace talks are broadcast and debated globally. A League of Nations-like body becomes a popular demand. Born of shared trauma, the world seeks a more robust, digitally mediated peace. The arts have always reflected the times. In this history, the web becomes a new canvas, a new stage, a new gallery. The Impressionists create a digital salon, a global gallery, bypassing gatekeepers. Kinetic art emerges. Algorithmic music is composed by rule-based engines. Novels published serially, poets craft concise works for quick terminals, translations arrive almost instantly. A young writer in Dublin is influenced the same week a style appears in Japan. Families gather around home terminals instead of radios. Text adventures and live text-based sports broadcasts captivate audiences. Celebrity expands to eloquent debaters, kinetic artists, and skilled players. Reputations built online. Traditional culture remains, theater, books, galleries, but the web adds a vibrant, chaotic layer. It challenges the high-low divide. Culture becomes an ongoing global conversation, more democratic, more global, more strange and wonderful. So, what does the world look like on this day, September 14th, 2025? A world with over 150 years to adapt to a global digital network. The changes are profound. Access became a basic utility early. Telegraph to telephone to municipal networks. The internet is less a commercial mall, more a global public library, a planetary nervous system. Empires gave way not to endless wars but to federations and alliances managed by transparent digital diplomacy. Early global perspectives and the first information war fostered a stronger global citizenship. Conflicts still exist, but are mediated in global forums with public opinion checking aggression. A United Nations-like body formed earlier with greater authority. Society grew digitally literate. Disinformation and propaganda persist, but people better identify them. Evidence and rigor permeate. Less sensationalism, more substance. A universal, searchable library of human knowledge. Not utopia. Surveillance, global economic management, and tech fatigue challenged society. But confronting these earlier made the world more stable, equitable, and thoughtful. It is a testament to the power of connection. A reminder that our greatest tool isn't found in any one nation or ideology, but in the linked intelligence of every human mind on planet Earth, working together.